first get you the latest on what's transpiring in West Asia. US President Donald Trump has announced that he will extend the ceasefire. Taking to Truth Social, Trump has confirmed that the ceasefire will be extended until such time that a unified proposal from the government of Iran is received by the Trump administration. So he's extended the ceasefire. Meanwhile, Iran has mocked Donald Trump. Iran parliamentary speaker advisor says, and I quote, Trump's ceasefire extension means nothing. The losing side cannot dictate terms. The continuation of the siege is no different from bombardment and must be met with a military response. Moreover, Trump's ceasefire extension is certainly a ploy to buy time for a surprise attack. The time for Iran to take the initiative has come. So let's first break down the details of what Donald Trump has said and how Iran is responding to it. Iran, in fact, is mocking Donald Trump's announcement, and Iran believes that the losing side cannot dictate terms. Here on the big screen, let's break down the details of Donald Trump's statement, of what he said on Truth Social. So Donald Trump says, extending the ceasefire, that based on the fact that government of Iran is fractured, upon request of Asim Munir and Shehbaz Sharif, they have decided to extend the ceasefire. After Pakistan asked them to do that. Upon request of Asim Munir and Shehbaz Sharif, we have been asked to hold our attack on Iran, asked to hold back till Iran gives a unified proposal. Donald Trump says that he's directed the military to continue the blockade, though. Will extend ceasefire until a proposal is submitted. This is what the president has said while announcing that the ceasefire will be extended. But Iran says this is nothing. This means nothing because Donald Trump, the Americans, are the losing side and they cannot dictate terms.
سخنگوی قرارگاه مرکزی خاتم الانبیا در پی تهدیدهای مکرر رئیس جمهور امریکا و فرماندهان ارتش متجاوز و تروریست این کشور با تأکید بر آمادگی کامل هشدار داد نیروهای مسلح جمهوری اسلامی ایران در صورت تجاوز و هر گونه اقدام علیه ایران اسلامی بلافاصله به اهداف از پیش تعیین شده قدرتمندانه هجوم می‌آورند و به امریکای متجاوز و رژیم کودککش صهیونیستی شدیدتر از قبل درس عبرت دیگری خواهند داد.
All right, we are shifting our focus to breaking inputs coming in. A big admission coming in from prominent MAGA voice. Tucker Carlson says he's tormented over backing Donald Trump and apologizes for a role in Trump's return. Carlson links regret to the Iran conflict. Once a key backer of Donald Trump is now voicing remorse. He says that he will be long tormented for playing a role in Donald Trump's return. And Tucker Carlson is not the only one. As far as the MAGA base is concerned, there are a lot of people who were once part of the inner circle of Donald Trump who have now come out and have voiced their opinion and, of course, opposing Donald Trump as far as the Iran conflict is concerned. Let's go across to Srinjoy is getting us more details. Once a trusted aide, a close aide of Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson says he regrets, he feels remorse that he had a role to play in Trump's return.
Now, this is a sign, really, that many supporters of Donald Trump are unhappy with the Iran war. Many MAGA people were isolationist or felt in America should not involve itself in wars that they felt were unnecessary. It's one thing to do Venezuela, finish it in 2 hours, but a 40-day war is not something many people in that MAGA group were very happy with. Tucker Carlson is clearly one of them, and he has left the Trump circle, the magic circle of Trump, around Trump, and he is now a prominent critic. Now the question is, what happens with Trump's support? Now it's ebbing a little bit. Now it's around 36–37% approval ratings. Now 37% ratings is not particularly good, which means most Democrats, almost every Democrat, is not in favor. Of the independents, clearly a very substantial majority, many of whom would have voted for Trump, are not in favor anymore, which just leaves the Republicans. And even among the Republicans, you see the beginnings of a disarray. beginnings of concern that if this kind of thing goes on, President Trump does not have to fight the midterm elections.
Right.
President Trump already is in the middle of his second term. But what happens to all of us is what the Republicans are thinking.
Absolutely.
Because this war hasn't gone the way it was supposed to have gone. Now, how will the people of America look at this war, and how will the Americans
because
vote
a lot,
in the...
yes, the sentiments on ground play an important role when people cast their vote. So that's the reason why it is going to be significant. So prominent MAGA voices have criticized Donald Trump, and remember, Donald Trump hit out at all of them, saying that these are low IQ people. But let's let's take a look at why this extension of ceasefire. Reason number one, approval ratings under pressure. So war is hurting Trump's popularity, his image. These are domestic reasons, internal reasons. Number two, MAGA base questions war. The core supporters are uneasy with escalation. One of them, Tucker Carlson, we just told you that he has said that he feels regret that he had a role to play in Donald Trump's return. Reason number three, the price of gas. $4 gas hits US voters. The fuel pain has dented public sentiment, and that's the worry. That's the worry for the Trump administration. Reason number four, Republican crack show. Lawmakers uneasy with the war strategy, and some of them already have started voicing their opinion. So the division or the cracks are visible. They're out in open. That, of course, also adds pressure when these decisions are taken. Number five, midterm risks rise. War could hurt Republican chances. So Donald Trump may not be realizing, but other Republicans certainly do. Reason number six, Iran refuses to bend. Iran has rejected talks under pressure. Iran, in fact, has mocked Donald Trump's announcement of extending the ceasefire. Number seven, Iran retaliation risk. Threats to escalate still alive. Iran could hit back. Iran could retaliate, which would mean that the escalation would continue. Number eight, oil volatility spikes. Markets react to war uncertainty. Again, that is something, and global markets react to that. So again, something that is adding a lot of pressure on the Trump administration. Perhaps these are the reasons why Donald Trump decided to hit pause and extend the ceasefire. The United States has boarded an oil tanker now, which is linked to Iran in the Indian Ocean in a fresh move to enforce its naval blockade. Pentagon says US forces carried out what it called a right of visit maritime interdiction of the vessel identified as MT Tiffany without any incident. According to US officials, the ship was carrying Iranian crude and had previously been sanctioned for smuggling oil. The interception comes as America steps up efforts to track and stop vessels linked to Iran, including those suspected of moving oil, metals, or other supplies. Pentagon also says Tiffany was operating in the Indian Ocean between Sri Lanka and Indonesia and has described the vessel as stateless, despite being flagged to Botswana. Officials say a decision on the ship's next course of action, whether to tow, transfer or detain it, will be taken in the coming days. So this comes after Iranian vessel Tuska was seized by US Navy in the Gulf of Oman. Another ship that the forces boarded, it was a sanctioned vessel and it was carrying the Iranian crude oil. That's what we are given to understand in terms of the details that are coming to fore. This happened somewhere between Sri Lanka and Indonesia. So United States boarded this oil tanker that was linked to Iran. This happened in Indonesia, in the Indian Ocean, somewhere between Sri Lanka and Indonesia. So the details that are coming to fore is that this was a sanctioned vessel. Moving on, we have some breaking inputs on the broadcast. Another ship comes under fire. IRGC gunboat has opened fire at sea. A fresh security incident has been reported near the Strait of Hormuz. A container vessel was fired upon by an IRGC associated gunboat just 15 nautical miles off the coast of Oman. The attack caused heavy damage to the ship's bridge. Though all crew members are safe and no fire or oil spill has been reported as of yet, authorities are now warning vessels in the region to remain alert as tensions in this critical shipping corridor escalate again. One thing is for sure, that none of the ships near or in the Strait of Hormuz at the moment are safe. These are reports coming in of a firing incident by an IRGC gunboat upon a vessel in which the ship's bridge has been damaged. Thankfully, no injury or casualty. As far as the crew members are concerned, they are safe. No incidents of fire or oil spillage has been reported. Let's go across to my colleague Amita, who's joining us from the newsroom with more details. Yes.
Right, Swati, because despite a ceasefire announcement of the extension that has been done, there are still certain incidents of fire that are still being reported. And we are talking about the area here when it comes to UK MTO, which is the UK Maritime Operations, that has now shared this information. The report date is 22nd of April, the time that has been mentioned, and what it says that they have received a report of an incident which is 15 nautical miles northeast of Oman, and the master of a container ship reported that a vessel that was approached by one IRGC gunboat, and it was challenged and then fired upon the vessel, which has caused heavy damage to the bridge. However, there has been no fires or environmental impact that has been reported, and all crew are also reported to be safe. The vessels, however, have been advised to report suspicious activity to the UK MTO, which is the UK Maritime Operations, and the location that has also been marked, which is said to be around 15 nautical miles northeast of Oman, where this latest incident has been reported, Swati.
All right, Amita, thank you for getting us the details. We're moving on. More breaking inputs lined up on the broadcast. Iran's UN ambassador Amir Saeed Ravani said that Tehran is prepared to negotiate immediately, but the condition is that United States has to end its naval blockade, also emphasizing that Washington must first halt its ceasefire violation. So here's a statement by the Iran's UN ambassador, who says US must stop ceasefire violations. It should also end its naval blockade, and only then talks can take place. So Tehran has set the terms for talks, that talks can happen only if US ends its naval blockade. Now remember, earlier Donald Trump claimed that if the Strait of Hormuz is open, if the naval blockade is removed, then there will never be a deal, because Iran wants the strait to be open, and as it earns $500 million every single day. And to cut that flow of money, Donald Trump says that they have to ensure a naval blockade. So it's going back and forth between America and Iran on the Strait of Hormuz. Iran says the naval blockade has to end for talks to take place. Earlier, Donald Trump said that we do not want to do that, because once the Strait of Hormuz is open, then Iran will not agree to any deal. Srinjoy, can you hear me?
Yes, you're absolutely right. That's exactly so. Because the problem here is the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranians have managed to weaponize it and stop all traffic. Then the Americans did their version of it. They have done this naval blockade. Now, the point is, Trump has got that point right. He believes that if this naval blockade continues, it will hurt Iran economically. This is not really warfare, but it's economic warfare. And once this economic warfare continues, Iran has no option. At this point, Iran is considering, how does one move oil to China? Can it be done in any other way except by tankers through the Strait of Hormuz? Now, if that cannot be done, then what are the options? There aren't any as far as an immediate option is concerned. If you want to build a pipeline from northeastern Iran over the Central Asian countries into China, well, that can happen one day, but it can't happen tomorrow or next month. Or if you want to transfer the oil to Russia,
right,
to, north through the Caspian Sea, and then move it to China, that's not going to happen very quickly. So how deep Iran's pockets are is really the issue.
All right, Srinjoy, thank you very much for getting us the details. A quick break with that. We have a lot more lined up on the other side as well.